Podcast number 2.
Yes, sir.
Man, how many weeks now since?
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
A couple weeks now. I think it's been. We haven't even been on top of it. We've been dealing with a lot.
A lot. There's been a lot that's gone on in X Element, and not only with COD, but Apex. Um, but today we're just going to kind of focus on the COD because we got some big changes coming.
Yes.
We really do. But let's go back to when we left off, I guess, really. You just moved out here, got a job.
Yes,
I think for picking up dead coyotes. You went to another job, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah. We're doing the same thing, kind of thing though. We're doing masonry as well, just working, typical stuff. Do I like the job? No, but it makes me money in my pocket, so you know.
Hey, a little green in everybody's pocket doesn't hurt, and I think everybody likes that.
Yeah, that's true.
Might not like the sore backs though.
Yeah, the sore backs actually. I actually did hurt my back for a weekend. This previous week, and it was just terrible. But it's all healed now. We're all good to go.
Yeah, I feel that. I did a lot of construction jobs. So let's talk about Cup 1. Going into it, I know for me, the expectations that I had for you guys, like, I knew, like, we're going to see, like, a top 32 and maybe, like, play for that 16, you know? Like, that's what I wanted. Like, and, you know, that might not happen, you know?
Yeah, coming into Cup 1, first off, I just want to say I'm super proud of the Call of Duty community. There was like 450 teams that entered in to the Challengers Cup. And we were coming in as the 39th seed of the entire tournament. So our expectations are hard. Like Aaron said, like, you know, we weren't even really thinking about placing top 64. We were really just kind of like, all right, who do we play for our top 32 match? We got to beat a really good team and then play our top 16 match against probably like some ex-pros. But honestly, the day just started off bad by, you know, one of our teammates being late. And then when they, you know, did hop on, their PC had issues. And, like, it literally was 1 hour where our teammate wasn't on the game and we had no, like, warm-up heading into the cup. We ended up still winning our first match for top 128. But just spawning up into that top 64 match, we just weren't prepared. And we ended up losing and bouncing out, you know, in the third round before we could even get any pro points, which honestly was just disappointing for us, especially since the core 3 of the team, we've been together for 9 months, and we just picked up a fourth who we thought we could really do some good things with.
Yeah, I know. Competing, sometimes it's the little things that are the biggest things. I remember you guys were saying I were watching on stream, and it came back up again, you know. Even the surrounding, the noise, different things like that happens that can, you know, kind of check somebody, I guess. I know for me, if I hear extra noise and different things in the mic, you know, I'm muting people. I ain't talking, I ain't commenting. I'm completely focused on what I'm trying to do, you know. And playing at a top tier level, I mean, you're making a lot of decisions very quickly. And a little distraction can cause something, you know, not to go right. Like, I know you guys had mentioned that was, you know, one thing that was kind of checked out, but for you, in a player and in a teammate, like, what are those things that you want to see that don't have those checks, I guess?
Yeah, I would say, like, in the scene, it's very huge to be able to keep your emotions checked. And that's definitely one of the things you got to get down. Like, you know, when you're winning or when you're losing, you got to just stay playing the game the right way. Like, not losing full when you're losing and not getting checked for little tiny things that happen in the game, which, you know, I'm a victim of it too as well. You know, it happens to everybody, but, like, the top players in the world, they can put their emotions aside and just, you know, keep on playing the game the correct way. And I think a lot of things that were just going on all at once. There was even a baby in the background crying during our match, and, like, the teammate couldn't mute his mic. Like, he was playing at an esports center, so, like, you could hear the stuff in the background. It was just, honestly, it was all around just not a good day for us to play the most important tournament of the year so far for us. And it was very disappointing, but the core 3 of us decided to stick together and, you know, unfortunately let our fourth go, even though we still think he was a very talented player. But, you know, we just knew that bouncing out before 64 was not good enough for us. So we immediately started trying new people out for our team of 4.
We went through a lot of people that going into Cup 2 or that week of Cup 2. How many people did we try out?
I think we tried a total of 11 people, and I'll say all 11 were very solid players, just not like that that just extraordinary player. Like we just couldn't find that guy. Except for we did find a really solid guy, and we thought he could fit our team, and we decided to go with him based on previous reps we had with them, previous history. We knew that this guy fries in person, he fries online, he's a straight shooter, and he's a good player, and we thought we made a really good option heading over to Cup number 2, which happens to be today actually.
Yeah. I know it came down to you guys had 3 top choices. Like, what were the 3 in making that the choices? It's hard.
Yeah,
It's really hard. But for you, on your side, when you made your vote, we don't have to go into names or anything
yeah.
like that. But like, what were the things that you really wanted in that player? Like,
Yeah, so
or
obviously as like a team of 3, it comes down to everyone's vote, and we have a tiebreaker because we have an odd number of people, and we looked at all the people we tried out, and all right, guys, who's our pick? You know what I'm saying? One of our teammates gave his, another one gave theirs, and then I gave my own, and making a choice like that, it's tough because at the end of the day, if you get outvoted, you get outvoted. It's one of those things where like we all have to trust each other because we've been with each other for 9 months. Where we all got to trust each other's words. So I ended up choosing a player where I thought he excels in a couple things that we lack in. He's a strong voice for the team. He has previous high placing, previous um, history with competitive COD, and I thought that was just a really, obviously he played well as well, but like those 3 things really stuck out to me, and I thought having an extra voice on the roster because we were all like we're all talkers, and just having that extra person that's yapping our ear off as well, like I feel like we just play a lot more better in the chaos. But at the end of the day, even though you don't get to play with the person that you wanted to in the beginning, that faith and trust that I have in my core team of 3, like whatever decision they wanted to make that they got the majority over, like you still got 100%. This guy's our guy. You know what I'm saying? That and when we made our decision to pick up our 4th, in my head I'm like, all right, this guy's our guy. Let's lock in, and all emotions aside, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to win. And having one person who doesn't trust another is dead weight. So I don't want to be dead weight, and I just want to fully believe in the cause.
yeah. So one thing that I noticed, like during those scrims that you guys were having, and when we picked up the 4th, it seems like there's a lot of mental that goes into those decisions. And I know we had talked about, you said you're turning a new leaf in a conversation that we had earlier, with the checks and whatnot. There was a game specifically that I'm thinking about where something did check you out. Again, but the thing is like you said, like it's about overcoming, those little checks so that you can be better. And for you, what did you realize in that moment? Because I know in that conversation that we had, you had some like, it's like something like clicked a little bit different.
Well, the thing is I'm trying to pursue something that to most people is insane, crazy. I'm pursuing something that people would even say it's a gamble, right? And you kind of got to be a little crazy to pursue esports and pursue this content creator side of the world. But I'm so involved and so invested with it that I've gambled my whole life for this stuff, and sitting back and realizing my flaws, because I'm not a perfect person and I'm not a perfect player. I don't think I'm the best in the world, even though my ego would love to tell me that. There's things you got to come to reality with, your actual flaws. And one of my flaws was my emotions, getting checked, or maybe my emotions get too low or too high at sometimes. And I came to a realization that just you'll never go pro if you can't keep your emotions in check. And if my main goal is to go pro, if my main goal is to blow up, then that's one side of me that I have to fix. And you could say that with everything in life. Like, if you're serious about something and there's something holding you back, you gotta solve it and you gotta fix it, because that's the only way that we can go over these milestones.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. So we ended up getting our 4th quit, and so we ran, what was it, like maybe 2 days with them before we came into Cup 2?
We had 2 full days of scrimming.
Had a league match?
Cup number 2 and a league match, which didn't go our way the night before, but we still came in today for the second cup, and we still came in with really good vibes, I would say. Like, I would say all 4 of us As far as the checking stuff that we were talking about earlier, it was not there today. We were all level-headed, and that showed when we played our top 128 match, and we ended up 3-0 in them, easy. Didn't break a sweat. You know what I'm saying? And we were honestly in high vibes and high hope that we were gonna slam this next team as well. And we ended up playing a harder matchup for top 64, and one thing led to another. We ended up losing the game. We did keep our cool though all the way through, but just little mistakes that we just kept making that really hurt us in the end, caused us again to lose out on those pro points that we so sought after. That's how you basically go pro.
Yeah, I know the hard point starting out, man. That's been a struggle this year with us. Is
Yeah.
starting out hot. So we did have that curse. It's like it's following us around just a little bit. So I know that hard point was a little bit of a blowout. It was like, what was it, 78 to 250, or was it close to that?
The first hard point, yeah, was pretty bad. It was it was a pretty bad map, and honestly, I'm surprised on how well we bounced back though. We went into the S&D and took it to round 11, but yet again, one or two mistakes cost us that map that we were supposed to have.
Round 11, we're up 2-1. Dude, I thought, dude, we in the arena, I had it pulled up, and like me and the kids were screaming. It was loud in there. Like we thought we had it, and then it was over. And I was like, what just happened? That was a little bit of.
It's disappointing, and the game happens so fast. The game is happening. You can watch it from your guys' view, but to us, the game is happening so fast, and these decisions that you make, they're costly, and they can either be rewarding or they can you can reap the consequences. And ended up failing down, and we got 0-2. Going into the third map though, we still had high vibes. Still I know some of us in the back of our heads maybe were kind of like, damn, we're down 0-2, but I'm hyped. I'm trying to get everyone else hyped. I'm like, all right, man, let's go into this match. And we went into this match. It was the overload on Den, and it was 3-4 going into the second half. Basically tied game. They're up by one score. It was a neck and neck the whole first 4 minutes of the game, because there's two sections. There's the 4 minutes in the first half, and then you get another 4 minutes in the second half after taking a 30-second break. And honestly, I thought that was going to be our map that we took. I specifically was frying, got a Hellstorm early, and then just, I guess, let off the gas the second half, and ended up blowing the close lead, and we ended up losing that and just bouncing out of the tournament.
Yeah, I thought after coming out of the S&D, I had to step out for a second. I came back, and it was up. It was like 3-1. You guys were up, and I was like, okay. I was like, maybe we're putting the afterburners on here too. Yeah. Definitely hard to take those losses, especially when you have put like so much on the line. Not even just you or let's say X Element as the organization. And that I guess kind of brings us to we do have some changes that are coming.
Yeah,
we really do.
So I mean, I guess I'll just say it. Unfortunately, it is just how it is. You team with we teamed together for 9 months. The core three, me, Devin is Frosty, and Chico. And as like the brotherhood that we have made with each other, the bond will always be with us forever. And we talked to each other in a voice call. We all got brutally honest with each other about our performances, about how the season is going, and after some emotional talks and getting like back down to business at the end of the day, we ended up making honestly unexpected change. I'll be honest. I had no clue that this is what we were gonna do, and my thoughts on it right now. I'm so excited for it. I hope it works. I'm so excited. So our veteran player, Chico. Probably the smartest on the team, game sense wise. He's definitely the vet of the team. He's deciding to step down and play a coaching role for us, kind of like a father figure kind of role for us. And honestly, I'm very honored a player of his caliber would even want to step down and just, hey, like, let me coach you guys. I believe in you two. And he wants me and Devin as Frosty to stay as a team of two, find two others in the competitive scene, and he's going to be our coach. and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I mean, Devin is Frosty. I 100% still believe we got it. You know what I'm saying? That's my duo. You know, we've been playing longer than 9 months, actually. I think a full year by now. Um, and, you know, that kid's crazy, man. I think if, you know, we surround ourselves with two great individuals, we're going to finally start getting over this 64 hump and start placing a lot consistently.
Yeah, I could say just backing up a little bit. Like I know for as an org owner, sometimes you have to look out into the future a little bit. And I had these conversations like 2, 3 weeks ago when I brought in Elias to help coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I was like, there's something's going to have to change coming out of that Cup 1. And so we ended up getting Coach Elias. If you guys don't know him, shout out Coach Elias on YouTube. If you guys want to know your rotations, your spawns.
He's a good coach and a good player.
Absolutely. Great guy. And I thought, like, you know, before we, you know, try to, like, go down to Major 1, I was like, what would be the safest, I guess, evaluation that we could do as a whole. And so talking with Coach Sant, I actually kind of just did it on my own. Actually, I pulled in Coach Elias and, you know, hired him for, was it like 4 or 5 days, something like that, for that week. Hopefully that we would get you guys, you know, into shape. And, you know, it didn't happen. But the thing is we tried our best. We put our best foot forward. And the thing is I'm one of those kind of guys that's like, you know, if I didn't try my best, then I know it's going to be eaten at me later in life. And
100%.
I know I didn't try everything that I could do. And Sanchez, you know, he kind of looked at me a little sideways when I brought in. He's like, well, you know, I'm the coach. Respectfully so. Absolutely. Like, Coach Sanchez is absolutely amazing. I was like, well, let's get a fresh set of eyes in here. You know, just to see if there's something. Because I was like, at this point, I was like, if we're going to be spending money on a team and sending them down, I was like, is this the team that you would 100% pull $5,000 out of your own pocket to send down there? You know, get the Airbnb, get a hotel, buy the team pass, help with flights, and those kind of things. And he was at the same thing, or in the same boat I was. I was like, no, I don't think this is quite right yet. And so I told him, I was like, if that's the case, and something like this miracle doesn't happen, or this change that we need to see, I was like, we're going to be in this boat sooner than later. And he agreed with me on that. And, you know, we kind of been looking at this for a little bit, you know, what ifs. And sometimes you have to play that what if game, because the thing is it's never, you know, never guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because who knows, maybe Frosty did clutch up at the end. And maybe that was the turning point, and we did win. And then we're in a whole different boat where, okay, you know, we made it top 64.
I mean, honestly, there's a bunch of moments that we had that we could have changed the courses of our matches. You know, even from the first cup, you know, coming to now, and you know, it's a very emotional thing, leaving your teammates, or, you know, getting new teammates, and, you know, the bonds that you create, forming teams and stuff like that. It sucks, but honestly, it's part of the game. It's part of the competitive scene, and, like, you really got to get used to it, because, you know, all the top amateur players, they're all used to it by now. They're just, you know, oh yeah, we didn't place. All right, man. You know, I'm gonna go team with someone else. You know, no hard feelings. It's you know, it's really no hard feelings. Everybody wants to win, and sometimes you just got to keep switching in the pieces until you find that one that just fits so well.
Yeah, speaking of the change, like me coming into the Call of Duty scene, being brand new last year, I was like, whoa, what's going on? What is this blender of players, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what made us unique, is how long that you guys were together. That's abnormal.
Yeah, very abnormal for the COD scene.
Yeah.
Usually teams are only teaming for a few weeks before they're, you know, disbanding and going to different teams. And I would say that's kind of like the meta that, you know, a lot of COD players use to grow. And we were kind of a unique team where, you know, last year we were able to just stick with each other and place well. Not great, but we were placing, you know, 48s and top 64s, and, you know, we were beating good players, or you know, going really close against great players. And that's kind of what, you know, drove us to team for this long. And honestly, I really don't regret it. I don't regret any of the time that we shared with each other. I learned so much with these guys. You know, this is my second year in Challengers. This is Frosty's and Chico's, you know, multiple years that they've played in Challengers. You know, those guys are vets. So as a young guy, young gunny, that, you know, I got to learn from these guys. and play with them for so long. I mean, it's just they're the reason why I'm the elevated player that I am now.
Yeah, in all reality, like when we think about like when we started, we're not even through a year. We
No.
started in January. So January, first land down in
Miami.
Miami,
Yeah.
and we get up to June or the end of the season. We hit our first $10,000 tournament that we did win.
Yep.
6 lands underneath the belt, like
Yeah, 6 lands underneath the belt, and the core three ended it off with that Kansas, City land where we ended up winning $5,000 to the team. That was probably the biggest motivator to keep us together. It was the best way to end off the season. Boom, we win the 10K tournament. Vibes are high. We kept the core three together. As the other guy went to go play with other people, and like I said, it's no hard feelings. He wanted to go seek better opportunities, and he did, and he's still a great player, and I still like that dude to this day, man. It's really a friendship world in the scene, which is a good and bad thing. But at the end of the day, all my ex teammates, I genuinely wish the best for them. I don't hate watch or anything.
absolutely. So, what would you say from the time that we stopped when the new game or we knew it was coming from our last tournament? Is there anything different in that time that you would have done to help prepare a little bit more, or is there something that you can look back on? I guess.
you know, Looking back on, ending off the season when it was officially the off season, where you could generally do whatever you want. You could stop playing COD or stop doing things all entirely until November rolled back around. So I think it was June to November, um, that 6 month period, basically, or 5 month period of basically nothing. Um, you know, I sat there and looked at the things that went well and went wrong for me during the Black Ops 6 season. And one of the things that bothered me was I was playing on an ancient PC that was giving me 120 frames and a monitor that was lower end. And to really compete in Call of Duty nowadays, at least, it definitely starts with having a good system. Obviously, you can have the best system in the world, and that doesn't mean you're going to be the best. But definitely, a lot of these top amateur players and the pro players, they all have good PCs, because the last thing you want is during a match hitching or lagging or frame drops. And if you played with low FPS, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And imagine competing at low FPS. It's a liability. So I worked my ass off, and I was able to save up some money to buy a computer that will probably last me the next 10 years. I probably don't need to upgrade at all. And now I'm looking into getting a new monitor as well. And also, going into the off season, I thought about my living situation as well. For Call of Duty, you got to put a lot of time into the pro scene if you want to go pro. A lot of these top end players, they're putting in 8 hour days, and if you want to go pro, you got to be putting 8 hour days as well. And to do that, you need to make sure you have, you know, a stable work job that is a consistent schedule. I would say probably having a consistent schedule is the biggest thing, for having a consistent scrim schedule, because your teammates need to know what days you work and what days you don't work. And if your schedule is super clean, like, it could really help you out with a lot of connections. But also, I looked at it, and a lot of the esports scene is ran central and east base. So being in the Pacific, I was in California. I'm 3 hours behind the main the main time zone. And it put a lot of pressure on my scheduling, because I'm 3 hours behind, or 2 hours behind everybody else. And I had to make a decision to move to Kansas, which you guys heard about in the first podcast. And I did that for a lot of reasons. The central time zone, central ping, being in a central area is just lower cost to travel, which is going to be huge for me this year when I go to all the majors, and even some local tournaments that are going to be here based around Texas. And it's just an 8 hour drive, 6 hour drive, and you really got to put everything on the line if you are really serious about this. And as serious as I am about this, I'm willing to go whatever it takes. And I feel like that mindset has gotten me to this point and gotten me to all my accolades, which I'm very proud of all my accolades. But you know, there's always more, and I'm very greedy and I want more.
Well, I think we all do. I think we
Mm-hmm.
do. I think we're hungry. I think we got a taste in June. When we got that taste, what a prize actually like feels like. You seeing it come through the bank, it hit the account. Um, you said something important though. You're like, what is it that actually makes you like have that drive. You have to give your all, and that is so important. So
Yeah.
when we start looking for these next two players, whether it's a team of two or a couple free agents, what are a couple things that you're actually wanting out of these players, and what are the things that are going to be like a no go, like and what will be like that checklist?
Yeah, for me personally, my number one priority is I want to make sure that this guy's a shooter. My biggest philosophy on Call of Duty is, at bare minimum, having the top talent gun skill, because I've generally come to a realization that you could be the smartest Call of Duty player in the world, but somebody that's not as smart as you but has extraordinarily better gunny than you will beat you more times than not. And it's crazy to say that, how smart doesn't beat brawn sometimes, but it's of truth. And especially now that Black Ops 7 is as fast as it is, you really need like that hot piece of gunny that is just gonna kill you. And if you can mix that with also a smart player, that's just a recipe for greatness. And so that's the main thing that I'm looking for. Second thing is the passion. Like for this scene, you got to be passionate, and especially if you don't have like a job per se and you have nothing to do, and you're only putting like 5 hours a day into the Call of Duty scene. It's like, do you really care? Like if you don't have a stable income to help fund for these tournaments that you want to go to, help fund for the wagers you want to compete in, or improve your setup, or honestly anything. Like it's really just to show that how bad do you want this, or do you just do it for a hobby? And you just found some people are just good at the game and they just want to compete for fun. But that's not what I'm looking for in a player. I put too much on the line to play with someone that's just playing because they're decent, and that's all they really care about. I want to play with somebody that is so passionate that they want to be great, and that's what I'm looking for in a player.
Willing to put it all on the line. What about like, are you gonna have like any standard for like a equipment check or internet, that kind of stuff? I'm curious because I
Well,
know for me, I would no, I wouldn't want a player that's on like probably codex, like
right. To bounce off of that, it's really not the biggest factor for me because, you know, coming from a person like me where I got picked up on a really good roster, and I was the one that was playing on a burnt system. I did have good Wi-Fi, but being in the West Coast, you really don't even feel it because you're on 40, 50 ping every time. So, obviously, looking at like a West Coast player, it's like, damn, I know how that feels, and I know that sometimes you could be a liability. So I will say I'll take it in consideration. But I mean, I was nasty in California, and there's also other players like me in California or in the West Coast area, and I would say I wouldn't want to pass up on an opportunity to miss out on somebody great just because of where they live and what they play on. But I'm very curious to hear their main goal. Do you plan on staying there full time for your COD career, or um, you know, are you willing to upgrade your system to help you get that competitive advantage, because you do actually get a competitive advantage to a certain extent, to a certain extent.
yeah, absolutely. Very very well said. Um, so when it comes to again competing, is there anything else? I know we hit three of the big ones. You want like they need to lay it all down the line, like how you are. Like you want them to match this for that, like with the passion, with the motivation. Like all right, the technical side. Like are you willing to upgrade? Is that something that you're wanting to do, or like you're casual? Oh, I'm just okay with my setup. And then does the age factor come in there? Are you looking like does that play a little bit? Like, are you want
No,
or let's say maybe not even age, but maybe somebody unknown. Like, are you willing to look at like an unknown player who's got like a really
yeah,
like just a gun that nobody knows and willing to take a chance on them at this point?
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the stigma in the Call of Duty League is based on a lot of friendships and a lot of history, which I think is great. At the same time, oh, you placed top 16 here, top 32 here on the previous titles, which is great and all. But sometimes you get a kid, you get some young 18-year-olds or some some young 17-year-olds, about to turn 18, who just they play the game all days. I mean, these kids play the game all day. You know, I remember being their age, 16, 17, and all I did all day was play Call of Duty. So, I remember back then just, I felt like I could have been a pro at 16, 17. So there's a lot of these talented young guys who have no history in competitive COD, but they're just driven and they're so passionate and they have this like adrenaline to them that sometimes you don't want to miss out on. So me and Frosty, we're looking at all of our options, and that's if you're a brand new player or if you're an experienced player, we're gonna give everybody a fair shake because you never know when you just find that diamond in the rough, and I think now it's so crucial for us to find that diamond in the rough because we started the season off rough, but it is early, so we're ready to just get back into the swing of things and fix everything that we want.
All right, so I know we all kind of tweeted at the same time, didn't we? So that tweet's up and it's live. Yeah. So I know they can find us at Team X Element on X. What about you? Where can they find you at?
Void CDL on X, or on YouTube it's Void CDL as well. On Twitch it's CDL Void. It basically just type Void in and Call of Duty next, and you'll basically find me. You also can't miss me. I'm a ginger, so.
Awesome, and I think they can find, was it Devin is Frosty?
Yep. Devin is Frosty at Devin is Frosty on all his socials.
Perfect. All right, well, hey, if there's any great talent out there, I mean, hit us up. Like we're willing to look. Like we got a Team 1 pass secured. Like if you got the gunny, you want a fair shake, we're gonna give it. And with that, I think this is wrapping up podcast number 2.
Podcast number 2, saying we did a banger. Good job, Aaron.
I know there's a lot to cover. It's just like such a short period of time, but so much happens.
Yeah, so much. And you can always catch all of our moments at both of our live streams. You can type in my name on YouTube, type in X Element. They be streaming my stream.
Team X Element on YouTube. Follow us. This podcast will be there and a lot of shorts. So you'll catch these guys and all their good clips. So we're trying to keep, actually really trying to get the content up too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been going great. So till next time.
Peace. Hell yeah.